Welcome back to Bacon Pancast featuring Jake's Meatloaf. This is an Adventure Time podcast, and we are Jake's Meatloaf. I'm Tulip.
I'm Nick.
I'm Chan.
And I'm Tipsy.
Did you guys hear that the writer's strike is over?
Apparently.
I didn't.
Whoopee.
This is news to me.
Apparently it is. I heard they got everything they asked for, which is great for them. But for me, it means I need to think of something new to say in the intro. So instead I'll say, we all know that modern streaming services, regardless, still tend to be marketing towards an audience of one, their own ass. And we don't like that around here.
But
Yeah.
We do not endorse Queenie bus tours.
Another thing we need to recognise is that even though they've agreed to meet the demands of the unions, that doesn't mean that they're going to.
Ugh.
I guess?
Starting off on a happy note here.
Right, everybody! Fionna and Cake is finally over, and...
Well, you're acting like you wanted it to be over.
No! No, I'm not evil. It's finally over, and we have these two really fun episodes to cap off this entire mini-series. So let's get down to the nitty-gritty and try to remember what happened in them, because I forgot most of... Oh yeah, there was that entire dream sequence at the beginning.
Did anyone think it was real?
No, I knew it was a dream immediately because of the color palette.
Yeah.
I knew the color palette was different, but for some reason I was like, oh my god, it's real. I thought maybe the color palette was like, this is their magic world now, so it's slightly different.
Although I did have some doubts, just like how long it lasted.
Yeah. It was terrifying, to be honest.
Yeah, but then Simon in the freezer shows up and it's like, oh yeah.
Dude, how many... They like got in the writer's room and they're like, how many like Simon corpses can we show in this entire series?
Literally every single episode, like, from episode 3... No, every episode from 5 onwards had a Simon corpse involved. The only reason that we didn't see one in Farm Mode is because we've already seen the Farm Mode Simon corpse.
Yeah, that's true. I didn't even think of that.
Do you think that Cake becoming like overalls counts as cake suit? Is that...
Yeah. I swear she was gonna say cake suit when that happened, but it didn't.
It was cute. I don't even know where to start with it, to be honest. I was like, my breath was not happening when Gold Betty appears, because I'm like, what is she gonna be like? But then she didn't speak, which I'm really into. I'm really happy about that, to be honest. She's properly terrifying.
Yeah, I think they did great, like, sticking to, like, the original vision of Golb just being, like, a thing. Like, that's still just, like, a creepy, silent whatever. Like, sticking to that instead of having it, like, have Betty's voice or, like, whatever the heck we could have expected.
And the, like,
really well.
They had, like, those little subtle, those subtle facial expressions, or at least, like, in the eyes, where, like, you could tell, like, how she was feeling. But...
Okay, so are we not going in order on this one?
I mean, we are. It's just, like, there's not much to say, because that's, like, the first scene after...
Oh,
well, I guess I forgot about the Lich, which was really crazy. Like, Lich literally, like...
I just wanted to say, like, right after Fionna wakes up in the real world and she's on the ice rink, okay, so like, I know that, you know, it's all a kind of a dream zone and doesn't necessarily represent or mean much concretely about, like, the real version of Ooh. One of the people that are ice skating is definitely Flannel Boxing Day.
Wait!
Yes! Why? What? How? When?
Dude, it's so funny, because while you were saying that, I have a frame frozen, and I'm, like, looking, like, you were like, oh, one of the characters is, and I was, like, looking at my screen, I was like, hey, who's that guy? He looks familiar. There it is.
How?
I mean, yeah, you're right. They just love their little references, I guess.
I love how confusing that is.
Me too. And it's funny, because it's, like, in a weird way, showing Flannel Boxing Day separately from Gary in this universe is like them trying to be like, that's not actually Princess Bubblegum, but there's also no way that it's not Princess Bubblegum, so I just don't know what to do with that.
Another point though is that Fern exists in this universe as someone who isn't Finn.
True.
But and also, it's just a nice little detail that I enjoy. When Fiona walks up on Gary and Marshall holding hands, Marshall's t-shirt has like a thing from the What Was Missing shirt on it.
Yo!
How did I not notice that? Oh my god. Oh yeah, I was having a mental breakdown.
Please show me. I didn't see that.
I was actually like, I mean, the anxiety was increasing at this point, because I was like, I guess that is kind of like weirdly terrifying when Fiona's like, hey, like, I did it, and like the world's gonna turn magic at any second, and then it's just like, that's kind of terrifying, because it's like, imagine if someone came up to you and they're like, yeah, the world's about to like change completely, and like everything about yourself is probably gonna be different, but that's okay. And it's like, holy shit, like she really did make a decision for all these people that like she shouldn't have done.
Well, she didn't want to, like, especially when she's telling them about it, she like is anxious.
Yeah, I know, they did a great job with that, for sure.
Yeah, because mentioning, like, there was one universe where you guys, like, were killing each other.
Yeah.
But yeah, okay, we can jump back into Golbetty now.
Golbetty.
I love, like, Simon, like, trying to talk to the Lich. Like, yeah, I get what you're saying, and the Lich is not...
I lost my purpose! Yeah, I feel that, man. The way that the Lich, like, this is the Lich who completed his task, and he says that he felt no satisfaction from completing his task, and he just asks Golb, what else could I have done? What do you want from me now? And then Golb just, like, turns him into Tetris.
Yeah, and you know, the Lich is, like, sitting there begging for Golb to pay him any attention. She only turns around when Simon says her name.
True.
Which could mean nothing, I don't know. But
well, I don't know, because, I mean, clearly she's reacting to a lot of what Simon has going on. I mean, she teleports his brain and stuff like that. Even if it's, like, an impulse thing, like, because her wish was to protect Simon. So the way I read it is that all the stuff she does is, like, more so just because the wish is acting out, not because Betty is there doing it. But I mean, that's my interpretation. But that's why too, like, that there's all sorts of theorizing we can do about why the Lich was Tetrisified, because it's like, you know, would Golb do that to anybody, or like does Golb do that?
I think the implication is that Golb has done that many other times.
Like, as every other Tetris piece a Lich? Like, yeah, that's what I get from it.
Can we have an Adventure Time lore discussion for me for a second?
Let's go.
As someone who's only watched the finale once because trauma, I remember Betty was trying to make a wish, but none of them were working inside Golb, right? Wasn't that a thing?
Yeah.
To this day, I'm still confused. Why did that last wish work? Like,
so I made a TikTok about this, and people are arguing about what I was saying. But, like, I think the interpretation that I have is that, like, the wish that works is when she says, I want the power to keep Simon safe. And the only way that is possible to happen, I guess, in some sort of way, is for, like, her to merge with Golb's power. Because every other wish she was making, like, she wished, like, for Golb to go away. And I don't remember what the other wishes were, but it just seems like any wish related to, like, killing Golb or, like, changing Golb's intentions weren't allowed to work. Like, something about whether because she was inside Golb or because of the universe itself, like, you can't stop Golb with a wish. So she had to, like, work around it.
Yeah, it is strange how she can't stop Golb with a wish or even make him go away, but she can become Golb with the wish.
Yeah, I'm like, I'm a little shaky on why that was allowed too, but I think it's cool, so I'm gonna let it slide.
Yeah, I mean, it's vague, like, you know, we can't have a definitive answer, really. It just happens. And that's why I like the direction here in this episode where, like, Betty's kind of there, but also not, and it's just more of like the urge to keep Simon safe that acts up, not really even like Betty's personality or anything. So like it continues to be vague, like how much of her is actually in there and all that, but it's supposed to be that way.
I am so happy they went that direction too. I think it's awesome. Like,
yeah.
And I get what you're saying about, like, I get why the wish worked somehow internally, I understand. So I'm like, I accept it. It's like, it's kind of really cool, like, when you think about it, because it's like you wish for Gulb to leave, and it's like the universe is like, that is an impossibility, like, that doesn't happen. And it's like, that is terrifying. Yeah. It's like she almost found this, like, wish loophole, because, like, did we hear her actual wish, or did it cut away from her in the finale?
No, we hear it. I think she makes like 2 or 3 that don't work, and then she says, I want the power to keep Simon safe, and that's what works.
I think there's another reason why the other 2 wishes didn't work. If you remember, the crown is built to grant your deepest, truest wish. And Betty's deepest, truest wish isn't to make Gulb disappear. It's to keep Simon safe.
True that.
Ooh, I like that explanation too.
Yeah, that definitely makes sense. But my interpretation comes from, too, how, like, in the series we see Magic Man and Simon try to wish for them back, or wish for people back from Gulb, and it doesn't work. They just get, like, the trash can thing. So that's why my interpretation of it leans more towards, like, it's a universal thing that they can't do anything about. So, like, even going to Prismo and being like, Gulb, like, right now, if somebody went and they're like, oh, Gulb killed the Lich, please bring the Lich back, they wouldn't be able to, because that's just not something that is allowed in, like, the programming of the universe. But that's just my idea about it anyways.
No, I love it. I think it's so cool, and it's one of my favorite things about the show, for sure.
Yeah.
Oh, I have a question. Does Finn still have a wish? Wait, no. He said that he said that he used it.
Yeah, I think in crossover, I think they point out that he used it already.
Yeah, but that was a different Finn.
Like, it was and it wasn't.
I still think that it counts as this Finn because they time traveled.
It was like a split timeline version of Finn.
Imagine if you finally get to Prismo's time room and you're like, oh my god, I'm ready for my wish. And like, sorry, like, alternate version Chan wished to, like, go to, like, GameStop.
Yeah, sorry, your future self wished for his past self to not be able to wish.
Yeah, I mean, I think for the same reason, Fern probably wouldn't be able to have a wish if he went to Prismo.
Yeah, maybe.
Aww.
Because he's just Finn. He's like the same version of Finn, again.
Finn wouldn't have a wish, but the emissary from beyond would have a wish.
Yeah, that's true.
So we get to Simon talking.
Yeah, and I want to say here, Simon having the Fiona World portal on the back of his head open throughout this entire scene is totally giving him like a halo.
Oh, yeah.
Which really plays into, I think, kind of thing we had mentioned last episode, where Gulb is potentially the, like, devil of the Adventure Time mythos. And also, I want to say, do any of us know anything about Dante's Inferno? Because I don't, but...
No.
Jagam does. He read it recently. We should have invited him onto this podcast!
Yeah, that would be great. Do you want to message him right now?
Oh my god, we can't do that. We're in the middle of recording.
But yeah, after last week's episodes, a lot of people were saying, like, hey, this kind of seems like they're doing Dante's Inferno and Fionna and Cake. And I don't know, I believe them.
Maybe.
It seems relevant.
Do you think if Betty successfully dug down to the devil, she would have found Gulb?
Now, see, when she said that, I thought, like, oh, so she would have found Hunson.
Oh, yeah.
Well, Simon having the hole in his head, finally in this episode, made me remember the Halloween episode of Invader Zim where Dib has a spooky monster world inside of his head, where he grows a similar hole in his head as well.
Whoa.
So it's a ripoff, but, you know, it's also a ripoff of Madoka Magica, but that's fine.
Oh my god. So, Here's the point where I ask for your help because I haven't rewatched. What does he initially say to Gold Betty? Like, doesn't he kind of reveal that like his original plan or his original reason to want to see her was to just apologize or something? Like,
Yeah.
what does he say to her? Like, I guess at this point he's accepted she's not coming back and he just wanted to talk to her again. Like, was he not trying to just like save her at this point? He was just like, I need to talk to you, kind of.
Yeah, that's what he said. He tried to save her for years, but he realized there was no way to do that, so he just wanted some closure. He just wanted to say
Yeah.
goodbye.
And like even in that moment, like he didn't expect to even end up there. So he at first says like, I was been trying to get here, and now that I'm here, I don't know what to say, because like he didn't expect to end up finally reaching her.
It's because of what he was thinking. Like, when he opened the portal the first time, he opened the portal to Fiona World because he was thinking of Fiona and Cake. But when he was opening the portal this time, he was thinking of Betty. And
Yeah.
that's why he accidentally reached her. Also, he had the crown, interestingly enough. He had the crown attached to the power charger instead of Chusku, so maybe the portal was altogether more powerful as well.
True.
It's just so oppressively sad. Like, it's. I mean, I eat that stuff up, but like, man, it's wild. So he goes to put on the crown, right?
Yeah, he tries to. He says, I have a purpose now.
And then she's like, no. Puts him into Shermie, which was
Yeah.
crazy. First of all, the like Shermie ears becoming Simon's hair is the cutest thing I've
I know.
ever seen in my life. But like, secondly, and this has to be said, I don't care how many times I see it, Beth's belly button portal will never not make me uncomfortable. It's like it's fine, it's cool, but oh my god. Yeah. I'm just happy to see them. I don't know, something about those two in particular, I guess just I don't know. It reminds me of the finale, and it reminds me of like it's like, oh, it's Finn and Jake so many lifetimes later. They're still together. It makes me smile. That's all.
Yeah, I mean, that's basically what I was going to say, too, like, because we see, like, the future tree in the show's intro, so it was always a piece of, like, okay, future will be in here at some point, but I was honestly not expecting Shermie and Beth to show up and be as significant as they were. Like, if anything, however the future ended up tying in, if at all, because I almost expected it to not even, it was just a thing in the intro, but, like, I was like, okay, Shermie and Beth will like be in the background. They'll have like one line and it'll be like a cute tie-in to something. But no, it's like a mini Shermie and Beth episode all of a sudden.
Can you remind me who Gibbon is?
You don't remember?
Gibbon is Jake's grandson.
I was gonna say that. Wait a minute, that's Drake's grand.
Well,
And I guess the assumption is that he's able to live for so long because he gets the magic.
Yeah, why is he alive?
Because he got the magic from the one gem from the Ice Crown.
Okay, that's what I was gonna say. I'm like, I asked who Gibbon was because I was like, Gibbon's like Jake's whatever, right? And then like, I was like, is that an Ice Crown thing? Did I miss something?
this was fascinating because Simon ended up in this world and he believed that Golb had just transported him to another universe.
Yeah.
And he didn't realise that Golb had actually sent him to his own future. So when he found the book by Simon Petrikov,
It wasn't.
it wasn't Simon Petrikov.
He just like assumed that. He couldn't read that either.
Yeah. He assumed that Simon Petrikov wrote it. I think we did see something. Am I losing my mind, or did we see something hear about something written by Simon Petrikov when we saw Shermie and Beth the first time?
The first time?
No. I'm not thinking of Shermie and Beth. I'm thinking of the other girl from like the comics. Never mind.
Oh, I don't know.
I have to point out how good the graffiti is that they did. Like,
Yeah. It's part of their plan. They got a whole like multi-step plan for revolution.
Yeah. But also, Chan, if you were going to ask, like, a lot of this future lore comes from concept art and comes from the like 20-second intro of the finale.
Yeah, they're going hard on showing us all the Steve Wolfhard lore in this one.
Yeah.
This is one of those things that like I saw all of this stuff and I remember it somewhere in my brain and I get like brain itch of like, why do I understand this? But I don't understand this, so I appreciate you guys.
That's why, at least like slightly unrelated, but just like in the main series, like because is it in Grable's 1000 Plus where like the ice thing first shows up?
Yeah.
And like we see that he's missing a gem, and just that like that one brief thing all the way back then had me like, what? And then they make that work. Like they actually pay that off, and they have hints towards it because like in seasons, I don't know when it first happens, but like in Elemental, like the one gem that was missing on the ice thing falls off of Ice King's crown. So that's like oh wait, but that ties into the future thing.
Oh my
and like,
god, I remember.
They just did so well with making that stuff work, and like they're still working with it because they seemingly just love that concept of that future. But
I remember
like,
that so well. I was like, oh my god, they're gonna use the one gem to like make Simon immortal or something and all this stuff. But yeah, their graffiti's really funny because it's like you can tell they were like, okay, we have to fill up this frame with graffiti, so they just wrote no Gibbon. Sorry, Gibbon sucks. Get Gibbon gone. Like a bunch of just vague terms about getting rid of him. I love it. Man, I should have scrubbed through the episodes every episode or every podcast recording. This is so helpful.
I also love that Beth never believes that Simon is real. Because, like, that totally seems like something Shermie probably would do anyway. Yeah. It's just, like, play pretend for a while.
Yeah, it was really cute. So I have another question.
All right.
Jumping back to our Golb scene. This is when Scarab shows up. I'm surprised that Betty didn't just, like, discorporate him, honestly. Like, I think the implication is that she broke him down to his base components. Like, that's what Golb does, right?
Yeah, I guess so, yeah.
But it's also, like, I'm surprised that, like, he was very clearly about to, like, murder Simon, and she was like, you're just gonna become some scare. I mean, maybe...
Well, maybe this is more like Nick's theory, that she only acts based on the specific wish she made for Simon. Because, like, she only does anything to Scarab the second he's about to kill him.
Yeah.
But then the Lich was turned into a Tetris piece just before because he was annoying her, I feel like.
Yeah. That's why
but that was like a Golb thing. Like, that was, you know, that was clearly involved with Golb's Tetris pieces. And not,
so you think
like
it was
Betty's...
You think it was more like Betty in control at this moment, sort of thing?
Yeah.
Or...
I think that Scarab is immortal. The Lich isn't immortal.
Really?
You think Scarab's immortal?
Yeah, they say that he's immortal in the episode. So that Golb's power is very powerful, but Golb is unable... Like, Golb either only wants to punish Scarab but doesn't want to kill him, or Golb is, like, unable to Tetris Scarab because Scarab is too powerful of an entity.
Yeah. You think the Lich of all characters is not immortal? Really?
I know, that would be funny. I mean, he's one of those, like, you know, time before time monsters.
Yeah.
Although it would be kind of poetic, because his thing is bringing about death, and if he's the only one of those things that can die.
Like, we don't really know, because, like, there was the Evergreen Comet with, like, Lich horns, so, like, was that supposed to be a him? Or what?
I took it as, like, the idea of the Lich is immortal, like, every, like, reincarnation of him is there to just bring death, and, like, that will always happen, sort of thing.
I guess.
So.
Wait, was Coke and Teppy dead? Were they, like... That was a thing, right?
Coke and Teppy was dead, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, so, yeah,
well,
they all could just die.
I think the heart was still, like, there was still blood, so, like, maybe he was sort of alive, but it definitely died by the end.
Yeah, so all those guys can
special,
die, actually. Forget what I was just saying.
Yeah.
But the Scarab is immortal. They do say that.
But that's why, like, continuing more about, like, Golb scholars and whatever, like, it kind of reads to me like that if, like, maybe all those Tetris pieces are other scholars, and it's like, once they achieve their goal, they show up, and then he turns, like, their reward is to be turned into Tetris. But none of them know that.
I do like that idea.
That's just the process. It's like they're out there, like, following Golb's, like, wisdom or what, like, vague wisdom, like, teachings, destroying stuff, and then being like, we did it, what do I win? And then he kills them.
I mean, I like that idea, especially because the Lich is the last scholar, and it's like, maybe, like, he is the last Tetris piece, and then if you, like, and then if all the Tetris pieces go together, it turns into, like, a troll face, and then the Golb does a nay, you know.
They merge and then build another Golb, and then the other one dies.
Do you remember what happened in like the Farmworld episode? And the kid was like, "Look, Dad, I was right. They're making faces. What's? I'm so good." And then Big Destiny says, "Here's your reward," and pushes the kid down the cliff. Father of the year. That's gold.
That's true.
And two, like, because we first see Golb in Pahoy, like when Finn dies. That's wild? Still kind of a weird mystery situation. Like, I was seeing people say that, like, that could be an implication of, like, Golb destroying the Pillow World for whatever reason or whatever. Like, that's still a very like spooky moment.
I think we get the answer in this episode about Pillow World.
Lay it out for us.
Like, Golb is in the void. What else is in the void? The rocks. And the rocks are the various universes.
Yeah.
So maybe Finn was yeeted from one rock to another.
Yeeted.
True. I mean, we don't know, but it's just interesting how, like, because, like, Golb was in Pahoy. Like, Pahoy is, like, season 5, like what, 2013 or something? Like, they must have known what he was at that point.
No, they didn't.
And it's just so... I don't know. I feel like they would have, because they gave him a name. They made it similar to Glob. Like,
he didn't have a name yet in Puhoy.
They named him on Formspring.
They did
shortly after the episode.
Oh, I didn't know that.
They announced that. So I feel like they knew, maybe they didn't know, like, that he was going to cure Betty and things like that, but they knew that was going to be a big entity.
Yeah.
And, like, they're still working with it and still keeping it a mystery.
True that people were theorizing about Golb returning for years. Like, we knew he was called Golb.
Yeah, okay, I do remember that, actually, now that you pointed out. But no, I think probably his original intention was just to be a spooky-looking thing that they can pick up later if they feel like it. Like, that's what so many things in Adventure Time are, and I love that.
Yeah, I mean, it's possible. We don't know. We'll never know.
I was gonna say, I guess we'll never know, but even down to the name, like, they did name him, but his name is just Glob, but they moved 2 letters. Like, that could have just been like a throwaway joke. They're like, haha, I'm gonna name him for right now. It's like, oh, alright.
I think Tulip is correct. I think that when they made Golb, it was like a cool idea that Steve Wolfhard came up with initially, and they were like, yeah, do that sounds fun, put him in the episode, it's creepy. And then they were like, well, if we want to do something with this character later, we can, and if we don't, it doesn't matter. But then people really liked Golb, and they were like, we want Golb to come back. So then they gave the hint in season 6 with the Scholars of Golb, the Lich being one of them. And then, of course, we need a threat for the finale, and what better threat is there than the anti-god?
Well, we're forgetting, I mean, because the way shows are made is that, like, all episodes are worked on at once. So, season 6, Golb is mentioned, and they forgot their floaties, and that's season 6, right?
Did they didn't say Scholars of Golb until Whispers.
Yeah.
Like in season...
But even before all this, in the promotional art for Astral Plane, Jesse Moynihan drew Golb in that, like, next to Mars. That's what the promotional art for that episode is.
Excuse me?
And
God, you need so much random ass, like, internet lore to understand.
Exactly. That's why that's always been, like, such an interesting thing to me, because it's
I love it.
I mean, they forgot their floaties is in season 6. I'm pretty sure.
You
right?
forgot your floaties.
Yeah. So like, that's when the Golb is name dropped for the first time, and that's when they talk about Margles. So, like, Astral Plane was also written about the same time as that episode, so, like, they had something scheming, but we don't know like where it took a while for it to show up in the show, but yeah.
I think
I gotta
that
rewatch
Still, they had
Astral
some
Plane.
lore there.
I love Astral Plane.
they had some
Yeah.
go there, but they definitely didn't. They okay. So one person invented Gob, another person, Jesse Moynihan later on was like, okay, let's incorporate Gob into this fucked up backstory, and then did that at the same time as incorporating Betty, and then that very naturally led to the series finale, right? But that doesn't. But the series finale wasn't going to involve Gob at all. Don't forget that.
Oh my god, I remember that. Yeah.
Wait, because they had short notice on the show ending, right?
Yeah, I think the last couple of episodes, I think the whole Betty summoning Gold thing wasn't planned until they were working on Temple of Mars. That was when they made Temple of Mars and Gumbaldi. That's probably when they decided to make Gold and the Gum War the same thing.
Probably.
Yeah, exactly. And I doubt that they had big plans. They probably were we could make another episode about Gold. We could probably have Betty involved with Gold, but they didn't have the plan of Gold causes the Gum War, and then Betty uses the crown, and then it magically makes Simon normal, and then Betty uses the crown to wish Gold away and become Gold. They would have come up with that plot during the finale.
It's possible, but at least they had, they had some sort of lore intention with Gold, whether or not they were gonna show him directly. And I think he shows up in Forgot Your Floaties too for a very brief second, just in a void, far
during,
away or something like that.
During Magic Man's description of what happened.
Yeah. So once Jesse Moynihan is old, we could question him. Maybe he'll let something slip.
Well, according to how he apparently informed young Xavier of the entire movie plot for some reason, we can just go and ask him right now.
Maybe. But he doesn't work on the show anymore, so maybe it's all wrong. But I mean, that I guess that'd give him an easier reason to explain it. But
all of this that we're talking about is exactly the thing about collaborative storytelling that I think is so cool. People just leave threads that may or may not ever be picked up, and then when they do, they really make it work.
Yeah.
And then when they're not picked up, it just adds to the world. Just some things are mysteries. It's really nice. Also, wow, a tangent. I loved the tangent. I mean,
wow. It's lore. It's what it's what we want. It's what we're here for.
Okay, so we have two major threads in the series finale for Fionna and Cake. And the first is Fiona's plotline, wherein she returns to her world and realizes that she wants to protect her world as it is. She doesn't want to make it magic and change everything without anybody's consent anymore. She's grown, as we predicted, to accept the non-magical version of her world. Now, Cake gets everything she wants, because for whatever reason, Cake continued to be magic even when she went back into the world.
Thanks, Prismo.
Thanks, Prismo. Yeah, but everything else is it's character development, and I'm really glad for that, because that scene where everything is being deleted, and even though it's so dire, Fionna does not want Simon. It's no longer I don't want you to get hurt. It's do not change a thing. This is the world we want to fight for. Don't you dare put that crown on. It's brilliant, and I think that's underappreciated. Because for whatever reason, a lot of people have decided that the finale is terrible. Because it didn't do this thing or that thing or some other thing. So I wanted to comment on how I felt about Fiona's arc in the finale, and how we have this cool Fionna world now. And then there's the Shermie and Beth part of the finale, where you have Simon reading the Casper Nova novel story.
Which I will interrupt and say that it's so awesome that even in this climactic ending of the show, they're like, we got to put a new art style in here.
Yes.
Yes, by Louis Zong, which is very cool. I like him and his work.
Yeah, I was captivated by Casper and Nova's story. I love their style of storytelling, because, like, yeah, in this big finale thing, like, they have this, like, quiet moment, and, like, you know what it's about, but it's, like, I don't know, I was eating it up. Yeah, we can talk about the general opinion of the finale later on, because I have thoughts, too, but
Okay.
we need to get through this first.
Hey, Chan, did you see when they're in the library and they're, like, throwing books down? The Transcendental Meditation for Pups book straight up has Jake on it.
I paused and rewound, and I was like, is that my boy? Hold on. Even to this moment, like, I'm like, it probably is, but, like, I mean, it is. I'm trying to find it on the thing right now.
I just posted it.
Oh, you did? Like, I mean, yeah, that has to be him, right? I'm just like, he's blue. It could be anyone else, but it has to be him. That is so cute, man. I love that about him.
Because I mean,
he's always been like that.
I could just so easily see like a slightly older Jake like wanting to create a book like that.
Yeah, he wants to redeem himself from his JT Dog Zone days.
Yeah.
Listen, I know nothing's impossible because they keep making more AT, but, like, I'm a little upset that Jake never became a mailman forever. I thought that was so cute. It's like, I want to be a mail. I'm like, that's such a good job for, like, older Jake when he's, like, too tired to do adventures. Like, he could be the mailman and everyone knows him and loves him. And, oh my god, it'd be so cute. But I like him being an author, too, and redeeming himself. I've probably said this on, like, 8 other podcasts before, but I always think about the line from Marceline's Closet where he's like, what are you doing? And he's like, eliminating desire from my heart. It helps pass the time. I'm like, dude, that's what I do.
And I love
so
the whole
funny.
library scene. The whole, like,
Yeah.
library city that has, like, turtle princess motifs and also looks like a big skull on
It's
the
so
front.
cool.
It's so cool. And they brought back the page links, which is like, who would ever think of that from back in Paper Pete?
Yeah. I was too. I think it was a good connection. Like they don't really do anything with it, but like the fact that Ice Thing married Turtle Princess,
Yeah.
it's like that's where I was like, oh, they're gonna run into Ice Thing somehow because of Turtle Princess or whatever. But no, but still, like I feel like it's slightly an intentional like connection to that because it's like why like Turtle Princess wasn't really relevant for anything else.
They got divorced, let's be real.
Probably
The,
probably ate her.
Yeah. No, wait. Wait. No, I guess, yeah, he probably did.
the robot turtle princess was quite scary. IMO.
Yeah.
But that's like there was like a robot squirrel too. It's like everything's just like cybernetic because it's the future, but also why? It can't just be because it's the future.
There are a couple of things about the library I want to point out.
Yeah.
It's the same library from Adventure Time,
Yeah.
but like the library in Adventure Time is a buried building, and you can see that the old library is at the very, very top of the new library. Apparently, there was an entire city hiding underneath it. Like
That
just-
is awesome.
And whatever happened, it was revealed. It's in a big cavern, right? And also another thing before we continue.
Yeah, it's in a big, like, pit. Like, they dug it out.
Yeah, and it's got a skull face.
I mean, why not? It's the Titan of Ooh.
Yeah, it looks awesome and very scary and metal. Like it is an entire city just buried in under the library, and the pagelings are probably the same pagelings, but just old and monsters because the books haven't been looked after.
Yeah, I was gonna ask about that because the city it did look like it was like dug up, so that's a really cool detail.
And we were book guns in Come Along With Me.
I think they were. I feel like I remember
I
that.
feel like we've seen them before.
Well, we've definitely seen them before because there was concept art that was posted where, I forget which one of the crew members said, like, yeah, I had a dream about this one time, and I thought it would be really cool to put it in Adventure Time, but we never found the right place to put it or something.
Well, they always find a way.
Yeah.
Oh my god. the dog food in the background of Fiona World. I'm like, it's
Yeah.
him!
Yeah, well, I noticed that on my second time through because I was like, Transcendental Meditation, that's definitely Jake. And then, like, very shortly after that, there's more Jakes, like, on the dog food bags in Fiona World. And I'm like, have I been missing? Have they been doing this the whole time? Have I been missing these?
Just a little treat.
I want to say, too, one of the things that stood out the most from this finale, like, obviously, I'm a longtime fan, so I'm into the lore and the Golb and the Simon, Betty, all that stuff. So, like, I'll have to rewatch it to really sink my teeth into, like, what's going on with Fiona, because I was very fixated on Simon. But I did really love how much action there was here, like, how this felt really climactic in a way that, like, the original finale kind of didn't, because it had so many different things going on, whereas this is, like, a big fight against Scarab, and like he keeps coming back over and over again, and like LSP messes it all up, and this all that stuff I really liked. It felt very like perfectly conclusive and climactic for, you know, a little series like this.
Yeah.
I think LSP letting them all out is so in character too.
And I love that when they're talking about, like, so these things are immortal, what are we going to do with them? Keep them in jars forever? And Fiona is so stressed about it. She's like, this is my problem, but I don't know what to do. I don't want to deal with this.
Yeah, and she knows Gary's phone password.
And no matter how many times they show us that LSP is like actually in the apartment off screen, I'm still surprised every time he shows up.
And then, like, the episode ends with the apartment blowing up and Scarab standing there ominously. And
oh yeah.
when that happened, I was like, oh, it's over already? That felt so short. I wanted more.
Yeah, I felt that same way. But like, imagine if it was one episode a week and like that was our end. Like, that's such a good cliffhanger. I just feel like everything was progressing so well too. So it was like, once that ended, it's just like, oh, what? It's over. Like, that was 30 minutes?
And then we get... What was Choose Goose's name? Pawn Swan. It was so
that was
funny.
another concept art thing.
The true best
oh, yeah.
in the whole series.
And he was such a freak. And I love that Beth was like, we love Pawn Swan. So cute. I don't know.
He flipped the bird at them, which is a bird joke.
And then Beth was just like, oh, but we love him. It's just so funny.
Oh yeah, there's a brief like establishing shot of Fiona World City, and it's just like nothing outside of the city.
Yeah, I didn't even notice that when I was first watching.
I've seen the world outside your dreams, Gordon. There's nothing there.
Oh my god.
You know, which of course it was already implied that they were kind of living in a dreamlike state, you know, for as long as they can remember. But this just makes me think about, like, you know, every other Fiona and Cake episode that we've seen from the main show was, like, Ice King and Friends and Prismo to some extent, probably, you know, making up Fiona and Cake stories. And so it's like, even in those, you know, just beyond your peripheral vision, there's nothing. There's just void.
Yeah. Every time, like, it's like the literal animation. Like, every time they're out of frame, there's just nothing there because the animators haven't drawn it.
Yeah, and I mean, they take that further with, like, Scarab destroying stuff, and it's, like, ripped paper, or, I mean, it's a TV glitch first, and then ripped paper. You know, cartoons do that a lot, but definitely made me remember that, like, regular show was doing that in its finale, too, when, like reality was falling apart, so everything was being deconstructed to, like, normal animation. And I mean, that kind of happens with Golb in the series finale too, like when he transforms, that's all like a charcoaly sort of like traditional animation piece. And the title cards too are play on that, because they're like old style title cards.
Oh yeah, the title card for the finale is like, that's a good way to play with it, because, you know, it's the effect they use in the episode for the universe being destroyed, but it's also, you know, it's like way more ripped up than any of the other title cards, but like all the title cards are a little bit ripped up, except for Come Along With Me.
It made me very worried when I saw the super ripped up title card.
Oh, okay, here's also something I want to ask about the finale. Who is Cheers? Because every other
Good question.
every other title of a Fionna and Cake episode has been the name of a character.
That's probably, you know what?
That's not true. Five Short Tables isn't the name of a character.
No, I mean in the Fionna and Cake miniseries.
Oh, cheers. Oh gosh, you're right. What about episode 9? What was that called?
Casper and Nova.
Oh.
Well, for one, I love that. For those of you watching this 1,000 years in the future, Adam Muto was tweeting out credits and concept art before the episodes came out, but for this one, he only posted the title cards, which is spot on, awesome. Also, there was an interview with Adam that came out where he was. I think the interviewer asked like why'd they incorporate Cheers, and he was joking about how like most people on the crew didn't even watch the show, so they just like would make up random shit that they thought the show was like. So that's my interpretation of this episode's called Cheers because like in universe there's a character named Cheers in the show because like, the writers didn't know anybody's name.
What would the barflies on Cheers do in this situation?
Cheers is the guy in Cheers. It's him. Cheers.
Yeah. He said Tom Kenny never even saw the show before.
I haven't either, so anything they show is my first experience of the show. But yeah, I'm scrubbing through and I was reminded of that island. They start releasing scarabs like prisoners.
Yeah, egg you.
The like island that's like, I'm the island of insight. Can you please point me to the nearest body of water or whatever? And then they die. I'm like, come on. They were so cute.
The Island of Insight reminded me of the turtle from Dragon Ball. Like the one that Goku finds in the very first arc of Dragon Ball after he meets Bulma, and he's like, "Can you take me to the nearest ocean, please?" And Goku has to run like 12 miles to get there.
No, it's funny. My first thought was, "Oh no!" But the city just showed that there's nothing outside the city. There's no ocean for this poor island.
Yeah, but about that doesn't remain the case.
Yeah.
Well, that's good, but the island got killed, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Also, Ash dies forever.
Rip
Ash
Ashley.
just fucking no. Ashley just no clips out of the universe.
Cake turns into fucking Godzilla.
Oh,
That's I can't believe it.
She's seen movies.
T-Rex was so happy when it happened.
Oh yeah.
Oh, and there's also Gary saying, "Oh no, he's hot."
Oh my god, that line was so good. It was so well delivered.
When about that Tulip, Cake seeing Godzilla.
Yeah.
When I was watching this with Shadow, we were talking to each other and we were like, if Fiona stays in like Fiona World and Simon in Simon's head, then Fiona is gonna force and Fiona has like a mobile phone. She's gonna force Simon to watch so much anime just so that they can have something other than Cheers.
True. Do you think? I mean, like, Fiona was dreaming about being a Sailor Moon type magical girl. Do you think that means that Simon like watched Sailor Moon at some point? You know what? I bet Ice King did.
Ice King definitely.
Definitely Ice King did 100%.
He had so many like anime ninja posters.
Yeah.
Ice King like based Fiona off Sailor Moon, so he's definitely seen Sailor Moon.
Another joke I loved was Marshall like starting to play a song and being like, I'm gonna play a song and beat this guy or whatever, and then Gary's like, it's working, and it just explodes. It just didn't work.
It reminded me
like,
of Marceline in Obsidian.
What specifically? Just that she plays songs except it actually worked that time.
Yeah.
It's funny because it could be a reference to haha, like music always like stops things in finales, but also that actually happened in the Adventure Time finale.
Yeah, like, because I was thinking of the Adventure Time finale when that happened. But obviously it's not going to work on Scarab. He just hates you guys.
But yeah, the whole Casper and Nova thing, like, I don't remember exactly the episode this was, but I think it was close to where we're at. It's like...
It's where we're at, yeah.
I love I love the idea that Simon played that whole adventure game and he only picked Casper's thing the entire time, and he was like, no way. Like, I definitely picked Nova's a few times.
Yeah, it's
but he just realized... Yeah.
It's such a good, like, in-universe way to get that point really, really across. Because I feel like they were kind of dancing around it. Like, maybe on a rewatch for this series, we can notice more things. But really, for me, the thing about, like, oh, why didn't you get on the bus with her? Like, that line was kind of the only instance where I felt like they were covering this, like, part of the dynamic. Aside from, like, stuff that happened in the original series, too. But so I'm glad that
it was barely hinted at there. I mean, like, Temple of Mars was really the only thing.
I have some things to say about that whole thing, and like, I really, because I love how they did it within this miniseries as a self-contained unit, right?
Mm-hmm.
Showing how obsessed Betty was with Simon, and then Simon finally being called out over the bus thing, and like how she just sacrificed everything. But I was talking to Kimberly about this yesterday, and she said, well, loads of people have loads of really stupid criticisms of these episodes, like really dumb.
That's a good way to open it.
But
your opinion is fucking stupid, by the way.
Yeah, well, like, everybody, it's insane because everybody has something else that they think is wrong with it. But Kimberly told me, Tipsy, if there is anything specific that I think this episode did, that I think this series has done poorly, it's removing Betty's agency from the choices that she made within the series. Because it's not that Betty followed with Simon's plan and that resulted in becoming Goal Betty. It's that Betty was obsessed with Simon, yes. But as a result, she was the one who made the choices. She was the one who decided to go to the future. She's the one who punched Bella Noche so that Simon would get his magic back. She was the one who used the Enchiridion to create a time portal and who tried to summon Golb to save Simon. Those were her choices. They weren't Simon's. And you can't really and Betty doesn't have any agency within this mini-series. She's used as a plot to develop Simon. And you can't really give Betty a character arc because she's Golb. She's this unknowable, giant, formidable creature. You can't give her a character arc. But Kimberly told me, Tipsy, this is, with all that in mind, again, Adventure Time kind of struggles sometimes giving characters like Betty agency, and like Flame Princess. And I think I agree with her there, because whilst I thought it was really good as a self-contained story, it didn't really touch upon the fact that Betty herself made these choices.
I could get that, and I think there's probably definitely a case for like having more Betty in here. But I definitely like, it's kind of a matter of like making up my own outside context or like pulling from the original show and being like having Simon realize, like, oh, it was the line that Beth says, what, like, because I don't remember the exact conversation, but like Shermie's like, well, we did it because we were in love, weren't we? And she was like, yeah, you're in love, but like that led you to doing different decisions or whatever. And I think that's what makes it really powerful to me, is that it's like, even in the end, with like the way that little discussion Simon has with Betty in this finale, it's like Betty is still okay with the fact that this is what happened to her. Mm-hmm. It's just a matter of like, this didn't have to happen if like things were different, but this is how things happened, and they both accept it.
Yeah, because she even said, like, in that scene where they get to have a little conversation, a little dream conversation, which is so perfect, the way that, like, they handled that as Betty being a character, kind of, but maybe it was a dream. But anyway, I think that it really was Betty. It was Gall Betty, you know, projecting some thoughts into him. And she says, we both made our choices, and I don't have any regrets. I mean, I think that pretty much covers... She, you know, obviously she isn't a character in this series, because she's Gob, like you said. But, you know, she states out loud that she made her own choices.
I was gonna bring that up too. I also love. I don't remember the exact quote, but Beth says like something like Betty was sort of obsessed with you or something, or she was obsessive, but then she makes a point to say, which isn't really necessarily like it's not a bad thing. It's just like with it. I think the acknowledgement about their relationship being imperfect was really, really. I liked it a lot. Like I thought it was really unique.
Like the relationship could have been healthier, and if it was, it probably would have turned out different.
Yeah, he could have got on the bus, which I love that scene. The like Gold Betty projecting regular Betty, because I agree. I think that was just Betty talking to him directly, but he goes on the bus. And they stop, and he's like, "But this isn't how it happened, was it?" And she was like, "No, it wasn't." And I was like, "This is such a like something about the way they told that moment." And it just, but like she was, like you said, she was like, "We both made our choices, and I wouldn't change any of them." Yeah. And I think one of the main reasons people are upset, people who didn't like it, which like I'm not gonna like, people have their own opinions. Like I enjoyed it. It's okay if they didn't. I think people had the expectation of like. I just like I just want to see a happy ending for them in the most traditional sense, which is they're reunited and they're finally like back together, because the series has been like the entire thing is like, oh my god, I'm gonna save Betty, I'm gonna save Simon, and then it's like finally they're gonna get back together and be happy, and then they don't, and then it's like, I hate this miniseries, why would they do this? But it's like, to me it works so well because it was about grief and closure, and like also about your actions having consequences, and also like not being able to undo them, like, and being able, like, having to accept them, because like there's so many different shows that would have probably been like, he found a way to get Betty out of Golb and they can finally live happy together, and it's like, I'm fine, but like the fact that it's like, no, that is what happened, and this is just something we have to come to terms with. And like, it's really powerful to me, and it's a really unique way of telling a love story, because it's a real love story. It's like, real love isn't perfect, it has flaws, and she says a line that like made me, like, it hit me in the gut. She was like, I don't remember the exact line, but it was like, you were the most amazing experience or something, and he said you were everything. And you know, they had that time together and they had that love, and they'll always have that love even though they're not together, but now they're both at peace with it. And I'm like, that's such a happy ending. And I think people were like, but they're not kissing in together, so I'm angry. I don't know, maybe
they really were both so in love with each other, but the way they are now, each of them, it just can't work. You know, that's what they come to terms with it at the end here, and they move on.
Yeah, and I think I haven't, that's just what I assumed too, that like people wanted a more definitive, happier ending for Simon, but I still feel like this really is one. I mean, you know, it's Adventure Time very often doesn't always do what people want anyways. So I like expected this sort of thing to happen, or I was hoping this sort of thing would happen. Like I don't want them to have a normal happy ending, and I think the ending here is just so well done, because it's like what's greater proof that they love each other than Betty being okay that she like sort of died for him. Like,
truly and honestly,
it's very intense, but it's like poetic and bittersweet.
Truly and honestly, I just think people they like the comfort of the formulaic, like, and they lived happily ever after ending.
Absolutely, and there's nothing wrong with that either.
I think this ending makes them think too much. I don't know, like, I'm being a little harsh, but like, I think there was this idea that they were like, they have to be back together and happy, that's it, anything else will make me upset. And it's like, this is like, I don't know, it's different, and it's unique, and the perspective is not satisfying enough because it's uncomfortable.
Is that the point of view that you've been seeing? Have people been unhappy because Betty didn't go back with Simon?
I mean, I've seen a lot of stuff. That was just one of them. Like, people who love Simon and Betty are like, I don't know. I stopped reading a lot of that stuff.
Yeah, I'm just making an assumption. I haven't actually seen what the criticisms were.
I might be making assumptions too.
And by the way, I just wanted to say, not to just dismiss what Tipsy was saying about, the potential sexist allegations of the writing. Like, it could have been better, probably. But I'm just saying, for me personally, I was satisfied with how they handled Betty.
Yeah, I was satisfied when I was watching it, but when I heard that commentary from Kimberly, I was like, you have a point. And the way that I've seen people talking about them, they're very quick to like say, "Wow, Simon was actually a huge asshole," or whatever. They're kind of missing the point of both.
Yeah, I don't agree with that at all.
Yeah, because that's something I haven't, like, I don't want to see what people say, so I'm just basing all this off of what I'm assuming is the reception. But like, I have yet to see anybody use the word like problematic, like so like nobody's that kind of drama or whatever for fucking fictional characters hasn't come up of like, oh, Simon's problematic because he was like mean to Betty, I don't like him anymore. It's like that's not even what happened. Like, it's trying to illustrate that like they had this very realistic relationship where things went in this crazy direction that neither of them expected. That's all it's trying to say, because they still love each other at the end. Like, Simon's not saying like, oh, I'm sorry, we should break up because I realize I'm bad. He's like, I'm sorry that I was bad, but you still loved me. Like, it's just because of my personality, and I understand that we missed some opportunities now, and I apologize. Like, it's a very, like, that's what real life should be like.
Yeah, I was gonna say, they're written very human. Like, it's just nice.
You're completely right. And like, people did, unfortunately, Nick, as soon as this mini-series started and we got episode 2 with, like, Simon and Finn, people were already, like, trying to problematize characters, whether it was Simon, Finn, Betty, Fiona. I mean, Fiona is a jerk, but, like, she's funny.
And it, if this is the way people want to watch fiction and think about it in these ways, like, that's fine. That's why it exists.
I don't get it. Everyone has flaws. I don't understand.
Exactly.
What do they
it's
want?
just, that's what the matter is. Like, if a character in something is doing something bad, it depends on the severity of how bad it is for them to, like, there's some characters that exist where it's like, okay, you're literally supposed to not like this. This is supposed to be bad behavior that is bad. But then there's other stuff where it's like, it's like Ice King. Like, Ice King stealing princesses. Like, oh, that's crazy. But it's a joke. Like, it's not this thing that we're supposed to see and be like, oh, that's crazy weird. And then eventually they kind of analyze it too, where it's like, it is crazy weird, but it's like, because of the situations and stuff.
I've seen 1 or 2 people take Ice King kidnapping princesses like super seriously, and I feel for them, because I can understand why you might do that.
And in like a greater literary sense, yes, there's something there, but the people making these stories most often aren't really thinking of that. They're just trying to do something.
Yeah, it's comedy. It's comedy. You can't like take that in a realistic context, because if you did, you would destroy the entire premise of the show.
Exactly, and that would happen with almost any story ever if you want to look at it at certain angles. And if people want to do that, they can. And it's just not fair for that to like potentially become the like hive mind thought that everybody is like, we can't like this show anymore because like this one character did this once. It's like,
it's bizarre.
It's possible. There's possible situations where something like that happening in a show is based on some sort of real bad intention of a writer or whatever. But in most cases, it isn't.
It's just based on Mario. It's just based on like Mario Peach. Except Bowser, except instead of like being super evil, Ice King just really wants to. Ice King is like really wants to date someone, but also is still kind of evil. But other than that, yeah, I saw people talking about that when this miniseries started. But other than these things that we can't control with how people interpret the show, which is always going to frustrate me, and always going to make me happy, because for every single person who dismisses the show, there's someone else who writes this incredible who makes this incredible analysis about it and sees things that none of us have seen.
Yeah.
And makes these connections.
Definitely.
And another thing I wanted to say about that bus scene is that Simon cannot know where Betty is going. She rides the bus without him, and the destination is unknowable. No, it does not say Comet. It does not say Comet. There is no cipher. But the destination is unknown. And that really says something. She's moving on with her life without him. And they can no longer travel together.
Yeah, and even if her life is going to be kind of nothingness now because she's just Golb, like she's still accepting of that because she did it herself, and she's okay with that because she cares about Simon enough to make that sacrifice.
I was surprised to see that people were like, oh, there's a bunch of like possible season 2 things here, like, oh, Golb is turning into something that we don't see, and I'm like, I didn't take any of that as cliffhangers. I thought Golb was just doing Golb things, like moving somewhere else or something. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
When Golb was turning blue.
We don't know. We don't know. Oh.
I thought Golb was going to turn into Betty to wave Simon goodbye, but apparently not. But before that point, we get this scene where Simon just like throws up the universe, the Fionna and Cake universe, and it becomes a dandelion.
Yeah.
And I made a post about this yesterday, which got a lot of traction. It turned into a dandelion for like a specific reason.
Share the reason.
Okay, so Simon picked up the universe, and when he picked up the universe, it became a dandelion. And then he passed it to Fionna, and she blew the dandelion, and it scattered everywhere. And then it became a legitimate universe. The reason for this is because Prismo made the universe without granting a wish, which meant that it was a wish that hadn't been made yet.
Oh yeah.
Whoa.
Oh nice. I was actually going to ask, I like got the analogy of like, this is a wish, like, you know, the daffodil or whatever.
Dandelion.
But yeah, I was like, I need someone smarter than me to... So was it Fiona's wish then, or Simon's wish?
It was...
Like, I guess it was Fiona's wish because she blew it out.
If I'm interpreting what you're saying correctly, Tipsy, it's Fiona's wish because she was the one who blew the dandelion. But it wasn't like...
Yes, it's Fiona's wish.
I guess maybe it's ambiguous as to whether or not when she did that, she was thinking, I wish that this universe would become real. She might have been specifically thinking that. But it also could be just that the universe being real has just been an unfulfilled wish, and Fionna was the one who happened to fulfill it.
It was the wish of the fans back in 2012.
Can you remind me of the exact... She did the same thing in episode 1, when she like made a wish in quotations, right? With like the same thing. Was there any dialogue in that scene, like what they were talking about? Do you know what I'm talking about?
I know. I completely forgot about that until I saw a screenshot of her with the dandelion on Twitter, but I don't remember what was going on with the scene. I know Hunter gives that to her.
Oh yeah, Hunter. That's why Hunter smiles when Fionna has the dandelion, because we're going full circle. Hunter smiles when Fionna holds the dandelion just before she makes the wish.
I was just wondering the exact like thing they were going for there. Was it like she didn't believe in magic back then, now she does, or something? Like, I don't know.
I think that definitely makes sense. That seems like she, she's in reality. Like, she wakes up from that dream and she's like, oh great, I'm in my reality.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, make a wish on the dandelion. And she's like, it's not gonna fucking work.
I remember she was all exasperated after she did the wish in quotation. She was like, whatever. So
yeah.
I think that Simon also became her Ice Prince in that moment. I can't remember if Ice Prince gave her a flower in the opening scene, but I feel like Simon giving Fionna the flower is him being the Ice Prince, or the Simon Petrikov, as she put it.
Mm-hmm.
And then when Golb says goodbye to Simon, she blows him just like the dandelion. and he scatters,
Wording.
and she's...
Yeah, I was gonna say.
No! I made the post and everybody said that the wording was funny. Betty blows slow. No! But yeah, that was hilarious. That's probably why that post got so much attention. And
Oh my god, yeah, wait. You're like, oh, everyone loves my theory, and everyone's just like, ha ha, blue sign.
yeah, basically.
That's funny.
But yeah, she wishes him a safe journey home.
Yeah.
At least that's how I interpreted it.
And his journey home, speaking of, fantastic scene there.
Yeah.
Of him just like stepping for 1 second into each of those other universes.
Yeah. And there was detailed stuff in those, like, they go by so fast. I really thought it was just the ones we already saw in the series.
It was all the ones we saw in the series and some extra ones.
Yeah, and then additional
Water
ones, yeah.
Park Prank is canon within the Adventure Time multiverse.
They'll never let that one go.
One of the universes he steps on is like one full of little bears, and one of the little bears is wearing a crown, and it's like it doesn't. You can't see the gems on it because it's like from the back, but it's definitely a pointy yellow crown.
I need to pause on all these universes because everyone was like, Water Park Prank canon, and I'm like, what? I didn't notice that.
And there was one with the, what's it called, the Magwood thing,
Yeah.
right?
The what?
I appreciate that.
Magwood, as
Evergreen.
if probably from a universe where Evergreen, like, was successful. I don't know. Or wasn't successful. I have no idea why Magwood is around in that universe.
Well, no, Magwood was probably. Or wait, no, did they like kill him in that episode? I don't remember. I was going to say
Yeah,
it was
they
probably wiped out with the comet, so Evergreen would have succeeded when the comet wouldn't have hit then.
Yeah. Maybe.
Okay, can I talk about my legitimate criticisms now? I'm not just a blind fan.
Oh, shit.
One, I mean, this might be an expectation thing, I don't know, but I thought the way they dropped the tank and the just, like, farm world... I didn't like that. I felt like they were like, we need to tie them into this, and then, like, whatever his name is and his girlfriend were like, can we just live here now? And they're like, yeah, sure. And I'm like, huh? Like, did your dad die? If he did, then what about your siblings? If he didn't, are you
thinking about that?
And if he didn't, it's like, are you gonna tell your dad, like, bye? Like, it just seems out of character.
They're teenagers.
I don't
know. They're running away just like any old teenagers.
I don't know if I accept. I don't.
Honestly, I didn't realize those holes until, like, people were pointing them out. But I do think in general that whole little. That kind of happens really fast. Like, I'm okay. The tank and Baby Finn is very funny. That works. But having every universe be referenced to, like, just seems like it's a little extra. But, like, you know, I get what they're going for, but they didn't put enough time on it for it to really work.
They should have got the BMO clock.
Yeah.
I think I really wanted the over the garden wall style. I mean, montage is not just over the garden wall, obviously, but, like, over the garden wall, they go back to, like, all the places they went and showed just the little changes that they made. Like, we talked about this, but I loved the idea that Baby Finn grew up to be, like, a vampire slayer in that universe, and I thought they would hint at that, and they would show, like, the farm world family, like, maybe, like, his girlfriend sitting at the table having dinner with Finn and everyone, and, like, you know, just a little nod to all the universes they affected, but instead they were just like, yeah, they live here now. I'm like, oh, man.
Yeah.
You know, last time I was saying Vamp World's fate was ambiguous, but now, yeah, that place is doomed. Like PB said, you know, Vampire King is, unless he really changes his ways, he's going to run out of food and starve to death, and everyone's going to die.
And then my other criticism is, like, I was torn on the final encounter with Scarab. Like, I think it was paced kind of awkwardly. Like, I don't know. Like, it was just... I never felt Scarab was that much of a threat, I guess. Which is kind of funny because he was deleting their universe and people were falling and no-clipping out.
I think it's definitely hard because, like, we see the Lich and Golb, even though they don't really do much. Like, we recognize them as really intense, like, ominous villains. So seeing Scarab just kind of be, like, This is way ruder than I want it to be, but be like an MCU villain, which is like that's much ruder than it should be because I think he's above that. But like, you know, I get what you mean that he's not like too threatening. Like even his real face isn't really that, or at least to me, wasn't really that freaky or intimidating.
Well, when he revealed his real face for the first time, I was like, oh, he's just cute.
Yeah.
I thought he was terrifying, but I'm glad you guys think so.
He was way more terrifying when he was opening up like beneath that layer of his face.
Yeah.
Then what? Like, I still love that there's a big, consistent fight, and like they try so hard to take him down. Like, I really love just that kind of action progression. I just think, yeah, he's not really that like scary. I guess, like, you know,
it was like Cake became Godzilla, and then like Fiona became large Fiona, and I'm like, okay, we're doing this again, I guess.
It was her top fantasy.
Oh yes. I thank you for reminding me we know all 3 fantasies now. I'm so happy. And it was just, I don't know, it was kind of funny that the tank, the Farm World people, and the squirrel came back, but the squirrel's like the only one who affected the fight at all, which is, I mean, in a way, kind of hilarious. You're like, we're going to bring all these characters back, but they're also useless. Like,
yeah.
But
I think maybe something could have been done with Scarab's power, like, he should have maybe erased like a person and like we slowly saw somebody like turning into paper, something like that, as more to add a threat level.
Yeah, I guess I was hoping for more of a, it's weird because it's weird to say I was hoping for a more climactic ending with Scarab when he was literally like deleting their universe, but I just never felt threatened, I guess, for some reasons. But, you know, just small things like that. Like, other than that, like, Scarab's fate is fucking perfect. I love that.
Yeah.
Like, I think the implication is that Prismo is now his boss, and I guess he just has to answer to Prismo now for the rest of his life.
But I mean, he kind of got what he wanted. Like, he wanted to be a Wishmaster, and now he's like in the wall at least. Like,
yeah. And now I'm like, I wonder if people will ship them.
Oh my god!
I don't know.
they were the whole time. Don't worry.
Kim messaged me this morning. Why are people shipping fucking Scarab and Prismo? And I was like, and I didn't say anything. But I was like, isn't it obvious? Why not? But yeah, I completely agree, Chan. I agree that the whole... I think the most common legitimate criticism was the whole Jay and Little Destiny just fucking showing up out of nowhere. Also, like, people got crazy over Baby Finn headcanons in Vamp World. Like, absolutely crazy. And...
I mean, that's just a case of expectations not being met, I guess. It's just like...
Yeah, but I mean, I think Baby Finn if they were going to call back anything, I think having Baby Finn and the tank show up would have been funny enough and perfect.
Yeah.
We could have gotten either nothing from the other universes or gotten like an over the guard wall style thing. I do think that would work a little better.
What if they got Big Destiny? Like, what if Prismo just kidnapped Big Destiny and he's like, crap, I'm in this world
Big
now.
Destiny can't do anything.
Yeah.
Act like he can do anything.
But can Little Destiny do anything?
Know what else I saw? Someone was like, we're really never gonna get an explanation either for the objects turning into normal things. And like, one, we know why that's happening, but two, what do they have to I thought that was just like a funny little detail, like that they don't have to be like, and this is the consequence of the guy turning into a hot dog. I don't know.
Okay, but to be fair, Ice King fucking died.
Oh yeah, he did. I don't know, for some reason people thought they were going to go somewhere with that, but I'm like, I thought it was pretty clear why that was happening. But
I mean, the place they went there with that was Scarab got really, really mad at them for it. He said, all the people you've infected.
Yeah. Okay, and we...
Yeah, I don't know. I didn't know what to think of that, because I could see that as a, oh, maybe it's a sequel hook, maybe it'll be explained more.
I think it kind of is.
But
I think it was left...
I guess it is explained, I guess.
I mean, was it? But how was it explained, specifically?
I don't know. It's it's not, but there's just the logic of they're
there's
crossover, so they do that.
Yeah.
That, I don't know, that works.
There's logic there you can assume, and we have.
Yeah.
But it's not explained.
Yeah.
I was surprised to see a lot of people like, oh, they did this and that because of season 2, and I'm like, I did not feel like this was like being like, okay, here comes season 2 at all. Like, I really thought it was self-contained.
Yeah. The only genuine season 2 thing is Prismo's face glitches for a second at the very end.
Yes, not just his face, also his arm when he like breaks out of his cube. It does the same thing.
Oh,
Wait,
okay,
what?
yeah.
I didn't even pick up on this.
It's very brief. It's like a frame of Prismo. At the very end, when Prismo's talking to Scarab, Prismo's face turns upside down for like 3 frames.
Okay, but also, we can finally talk about this.
Yeah.
We did not see Prismo's boss. They didn't show him.
They didn't.
I can't believe
That's what I was like on the edge of my seat for the whole ending. I was like, are they gonna do it? Are they gonna do it?
It's so funny. I was so sure they...
Clearly we saw Prismo's boss. That telephone! That's Prismo's boss.
Yeah, okay, good theory.
Oh, duh.
Yeah, it could be for all we know.
But the telephone has Nephilim wings.
True.
I'm not even angry that we didn't see him. I think it's hilarious that we
Yeah,
didn't
me too.
see him.
But I was just like, this could be a one, because this could be all we ever have for Adventure Time ever. So I was on the edge of my seat like, will they do it? Will they do it? And then they don't. And then I'm like, oh, okay, but the story was really good anyways.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, people are saying that because there was an interview or something, right? Where Adam said, like, yeah, if they picked us up for a season 2, we would come up with something to make for it.
Yeah, and I think even before interviews at Comic-Con, he said something too. But nobody fucking records Comic-Con anymore, so who knows if that was true.
Yeah, so I'm sure it's like a little of both, I think. I'm sure they absolutely made this to be a self-contained story, but just like with the original series, they leave some threads that they could return to if they want to.
Yeah, and I think it's so, like, it was so fantastically done, because I'm here like, this was so well contained, what could they do next? I have no idea. But they could, because they always have ideas in those little heads of theirs. And also, like, they fucking continued the Choose Goose thing. Like, so they could do anything. They could do anything.
Honestly, I saw a lot of people saying the Shermie and Beth, like, the whole everything with them felt like a pilot sort of thing for them. And I'm like...
I can see how it felt like that, but... it feels more like a payoff to me, having seen all of Wolfhard's drawings.
I don't want, like, I love... First of all, their world building is crazy. I don't know, it's insane. But
I think the vague world building of the future has been so good.
That's what I mean. I don't want a series focused on it.
Exactly. If we got a future, don't have it be Shermie and Beth, I guess. Like, have Shermie and Beth be side characters and make up some new characters, something. Like, do something crazy. But, you know, markability-wise, they can't do that.
I think they could make it work. I think they could make a good future Ooze story that involves Shermie and Beth, but it wouldn't be like their entire story. It would be a story that involves Shermie and Beth, like one of their adventures.
I just really hope that if they were like greenlit for another series, like it would have the same... I don't know if it could ever reach Fionna and Cake levels, because just like Fionna and Cake as a concept is like, everyone's like, oh my god, they're getting their own series. Did you hear Fionna and Cake's getting their own... It's like, it's so marketable, I guess, if you know what I mean. Like,
yeah.
And it's like, if they were like, we're going to make another one, this one's about these two characters that you've never met before, I'm like, would it just be like Distant Lands, where it'd be like really good, but also like quiet, you know? I don't know.
The Prismo stuff, the Simon stuff, the Shermie and Beth stuff, those all felt like concepts for different miniseries that Adam Muto may have already pitched to Cartoon Network before he went for Fionna and Cake.
Yeah, and they may be. It's just like, I think, how, you know, Fionna and Cake and Fiona happened so late in Adventure Time's run, there was no possible way they could have followed up on the beaming ideas into Ice King's head thing.
Yeah.
Like, and they just left that as something for you to ponder, for you to think about.
Yeah, but seemingly they knew that it was Prismo at that time on the writer's end.
Apparently they did. They said that in interviews, yeah.
The interview that came out yesterday too, Adam, I don't remember specifically what he said, but he did say that, like, Fionna and Cake were perfect for markability, so like that really helped the idea.
Wait, it was always Prismo?
Yeah. So just the little things like Prismo glitching are just there to make you go, huh? What does that mean? And like maybe they'll return to it later, and maybe they won't.
Listen, as someone who saw the original Fionna and Cake announcement, even though Simon was in it, they were like, we're making a Fionna and Cake series. I was like, okay, I guess I'm excited, but what does this mean? I was a little bit of a skeptic, but I adored it. I think as a whole, it was so fantastic, and it was really fun, and I love seeing how popular it got too. And I talked to Cell and Voice the other day, and she goes, "It's been 4 years," and I'm like, "No, it hasn't." But it really, like, we talk on, in text every now and then, like, how you doing? But like, you get back with all your friends who are passionate about the show, and I'm like, it's just business as usual. It's so special.
I have a question.
Mm-hmm.
What was your favorite episode of this miniseries, or your favorite?
Oh, that's a good question.
Mine is still The Winter King.
I think maybe the star. I have to hold on. I'm gonna look at the episode list here really fast. I also loved. It's hard. I love the first two, but it's like also because the hype was starting then, so maybe that helped.
Mm-hmm.
But
yeah, I really like the surprise aspect and the vibes of Jerry is so good.
I was gonna say. I think the Star and Jerry, I count them as like this. I guess they're not the same episode, but those were my two favorites.
The Star and Jerry is definitely a really popular batch.
The first two were great, though. I would say, like, if I made like a tier list of episodes, I would put Winter King at top, and then like the first two right underneath it.
I think Winter King is like so creatively interesting. Like, it's really awesome. But honestly, probably for me, like, the second episode, Simon Petrikov, might be my favorite because of the, like, I mean, there's no payoff to it. It's just kind of depressing, but like, that's what I like. Like, I love the vibes there.
It is fantastic, and Finn was in it. I think it's a tie between Simon Petrikov, Jerry, and the Star for me, for a bunch of different reasons. Like, I want to say Jerry's my favorite, but then it's like, it's not as fun as the Star, or like Simon Petrikov. It's not as like, oh my god, we see Finn, we see blood for the first time, the ridiculousness of him like beheading the thing. We never find out if that bear was Huntress Wizard. It probably was, or I don't know. It's just
I actually really like these last two episodes. They kind of mesh together. I can't remember what parts are in which episode, but
no, they very much are two parts of one story.
Yeah, I really like let's just call it the finale. I really like the finale batch. I think that emotionally, it's probably the strongest emotionally. But as a standalone episode, it probably goes to the Ice Prince episode, mostly because it was just so fun to watch. Like, it's just so entertaining of an episode. Seeing this Ice Kingdom, and then like the dark twist at the end, it was so fun. And the singing, the Crazy Princess Bubblegum, love Hinden Walsh. I thought that the Star, by comparison, whilst being an incredibly interesting world, was less fun to me. A bit more bleak, and I like Jerry. Like, Jerry has grown on me compared to last week, where I was like, I hate this episode. It's terrible. It should never have happened. It's grown on me. I still hate that BMO scene, but like, I enjoy the cursed, terrifying world where everything is dead. Though I do think that the first batch that we got all the way back then might be our strongest batch.
Yeah, I can see it.
it's just like something about, I mean, they were great episodes on their own, but also like one being like, okay, we're back, it's adventure time again, I'm so excited. It like multiplies the hype, but then also like it's the setup for the whole series, and there's so many different like theories and things in your brain, and it's like it adds so much like exciting speculation that I can't help but love them. I also love that, like, if you take away like all the plot of this miniseries and just like it and just view it as like a goofy thing, it was really fun and funny and like super enjoyable to watch. Like, regardless of how you felt about the conclusion of it, I think like it was still super fun and interesting, and I love that about it too. Yeah. It's
just wholly engaging and quality, and like there's definitely a ton of people out there watching it who either didn't watch the original like at all or never finished it but still wanted to get on like this because of the hype and the new relatability and stuff it has.
Oh, my phone's ringing. I've got a like I had like two separate people from like my high school that barely know me, but they know like that guy likes Adventure Time. They messaged me like, Fionna and Cake's so good. I just wanted to tell you. I'm like, what the fuck? You're watching it? It's awesome.
Yeah, like there was some episodes of the original show, right, where some people are like, oh, I enjoy this episode, and some other people are like, this is the most boring thing I've seen in my... Like the Red Throne. The Red Throne sucks. But you can tell me that you love the Red Throne. But...
Me? Oh, Jesus, no.
I need to remember which one that is.
I remember watching that back in the day, like, what the fuck is this?
It's the one with, like, a 3-minute fight scene between Flame King and Dom Jean.
Oh, okay, yeah, that is the most iconic, one of the more iconic disliked ones. Yeah.
I disliked everything about that one, including, like, how Flame Princess was characterized and treated in the episode. So yeah, you have eps like that. You do not have any eps like that in the Fionna and Cake miniseries, and I was expecting us to get loads. The least favourite episode is the one where Cake is a cat and goes on and does chaos, and I still really enjoy watching that episode.
I was gonna say, if I had to pick a least favorite, it would just be that one, but only because the others were so good.
Yeah.
Like, I thought Cake's episode was fun and funny, like, it was enjoyable. But if I had to pick one,
it was really funny with the squirrel and everything.
Yeah,
like I loved that episode.
It was just such a good. It's not even a return to form because there's so much new stuff in the Cake the Cat episode, but like just seeing Ooh again, like, is so nice. Like, it's just so nice to have that.
And there's so much vague storytelling, or whatever you want to call it, through multiverses where you can be like, oh, this might have happened in the real universe because this happened to this character in this universe, and it's like, oh, it's so fun.
And you get you get more of an introduction to Astrid, right? And what you might have realized at the end of the episode is that Astrid is the one who wrote the book that Simon read in the future.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay, this is the thing with that. A lot of people are confused about that.
Oh yeah, let's talk about this. I need help.
Yes, please, because like I think what the implication is in the credits is that Simon is telling Astrid about his whole multiverse experience that he just had and about his relationship with Betty and everything. And Astrid, based on that, makes up the OCs Casper and Nova, which go on to become a big deal that has a fandom and is a franchise, kind of like Fionna and Cake did in Ooh when Ice King wrote it and stuff. Which means, Chan, you were like kind of right about your prediction. It wasn't about like baby Finn and Jake, but there was a thing where an alternate version of yourself, like, you know, became the personality of the other one.
I'm a genius, is what you're saying?
Yes, that's exactly what I'm
cool.
saying.
Okay, so I'm glad you brought this up, because I saw originally people were like, oh, it must have been Simon who wrote this book to, like, warn his future self, but it being Astrid, love that. And I think I accept that, and I accept no other alternative, in fact.
Yeah. But even from that scene of Astrid drawing them, people are like, oh, Simon made it up because Simon's telling her specifically about the Casper OCs that Simon made up that are like a metaphor for himself. And it's like, no, but I mean, I don't know if you want to think that, I guess, but the clear indication to me, the immediate thing I got was like, Simon's talking about himself and she's drawing characters based on what he said.
I also think it's really cute to think like this girl who's like likes stories and is like drawing becomes like a very well-known author. I think that's adorable.
Yeah.
She makes adventure games.
Yeah, that was, oh man, I just the imagery, I mean, just like when he tried to go back and it wouldn't let him, I'm like, oh, I've got chills. Like, I couldn't even like explain my feelings at the time.
It was really funny that Beth just sort of like accepted that all of this could be behavior from Shermie.
I love the commitment to this bit. She said something. It was so
love that.
cute.
And you know what? I also love the way Shermie's voice actor performs that, because it sounds like it's Simon talking, you know?
Yeah, I didn't even think of that. You're right. Like, it's so good.
There was some specific lines that Shermie's voice actor did where I was like, that was just like Simon's inflection, like right there. That was so good. I love
Euripides.
Shermie is such a little gremlin.
I love too that we see Simon naked again for like 2 seconds.
Wait, what?
Shermie's just playing video games inside of his own brain while Simon is standing there controlling his body.
Oh yeah. Is Simon naked in the brain universe?
Yeah.
Is that what okay.
Yeah.
Brain universe, his brain, you know what I mean?
Also, Fiona tries to do the Finn scream for a second.
Fiona's voice actress, like someone messaged me the other day and they were like, Fiona's voice, no, someone was posting the other day and like, they were saying like, Fiona's voice actress is terrible. She's just an actor.
What?
She has no voice acting skills. And I was like, that is so mean. Like,
I will destroy
That's
them.
not
I
even
think she
true.
did a phenomenal
That's the whole
job.
series. All I could think, 'cause it's her same actress from the show, right? She never
Yeah.
changed.
Yeah.
Yeah, like there's something about it that is such a good female Finn. Like if you really try to think about that way, it's like I don't know how the casting process for her went, but she is like perfect for Fiona. Like it just seems so right.
one of the reasons...
I think she did it. I hate that. That person's wrong. I think she did great.
One of the reasons I think, one, they are somewhat... Okay, so, one, I agree that Fiona's voice acting is very limited. Very limited. She does not have much range. She doesn't do much She doesn't do very convincing, like, panic or anything. But two, this is just like Finn. Because Jeremy Shada was doing the role of Finn across his entire childhood. And over the years, there are some periods of time where he just couldn't do certain things that he was able to do in the past. Like, if you listen to Jeremy play as Finn now, there are some things he can do that's incredible, but other things that he used to be able to do all the time that he can no longer do, such as scream. Jeremy's screams are no longer as good as young Finn's screams. So, Madeline fits in the sense that she has a limited voice range, just like Finn. And that's what makes her such a convincing thing. She's not like a wonderful, super emotional voice actress. She's just a normal person.
I just think, yeah, I always took it as like that was just how like she was supposed to do it, and like I don't know, some lines like when she was like, "Please, if you don't help us, all my friends will die." Like she delivered that line so well, and like I don't know, it just all felt really natural to me. I love her voice, so I fight them. Also, it was really cute when she was like, "How or otherwise I wouldn't have met the Simon Petrikov." I'm like, "Oh my god, it's the line that they said 10 minutes ago."
It is so precious.
But, oh, that's what I was going to mention. The idea that her phone can always now connect between multiverses and she can just keep in contact. She can call Simon if she wants to. Oh my god. It was really special.
I need to mention that joke. Like, give me your phone, but you don't know my password. Yes, I do.
Oh yeah, what did he say afterward? He just like made a noise or something. It was like, what? Like, it was just really funny.
Have any of you listened to the official soundtrack that they released, like on Spotify?
I did, but not the last songs because I didn't watch the episode yet when I was listening to it.
Oh wow!
Well, I listened to the full song after, like the song by Kendall, right? Was their name?
Yeah, well, I'm slightly like frustrated with that soundtrack because it doesn't include that final song at the end.
I was gonna say I'm frustrated because there's no tumbleweeds and rattlesnakes.
And there's none of Marshall's songs on it.
No full version. Apparently, on the topic of that final song, I saw someone say that that was just a pre-existing song that they used in the show, so it's probably
that was
somewhere else.
in Adam's interview from the other day too. He said like he's the person who wrote that song at one point said like, "Oh, I hope this is used in the ending of a sitcom," and Adam was like, "Well, this isn't a sitcom, but it kind of works here." Like, so Adam approached him about using that, I'm pretty sure.
Oh, that's nice. So, I don't know, was it like a legal reason they couldn't have it on the soundtrack or something?
Probably.
I guess so, I don't know.
So it's the full version's on Spotify probably, it's just probably under a different name.
Yeah.
Can I commend the work of Amanda Jones throughout this entire
Yes,
miniseries?
always.
Because Amanda Jones did quite a lot of Distant Lands. I believe she did Obsidian and Together Again. I don't think she did Wizard City. She did Obsidian and Together Again, and those both had incredible soundtracks. And all of Fiona and Cake is just next level. It all sounds incredible. When you meet like Shirley and Beth, the soundtrack changes and it's like this sort of drum that it grows intense. And then when you enter Farm World as well, there's this brilliant track that happens. It's just so good.
There's the one when Simon gets out of the car. There's like a specific like, I don't know. It's like this orchestral string thing, and I'm like, oh my god, my emotions. It's so good.
Yeah, the music itself is great. I'm like personally a little frustrated with the soundtrack they released because of the things I said. There's no Marshall Lee in it, and like in the Winter Kings song, there's a bit where you can like hear background noises, like they just took it out of the episode, which is something I think they did a lot on the other official Adventure Time soundtracks because they never made those soundtracks until after the show was over. But with this one, if they knew they were making a soundtrack, like make a clean version, please.
I know.
Yeah, because even the Rebecca Sugar song like cuts, and you can kind of notice that it's like a cut rather than like the song actually continuing. But, you know, so at least they released it at all.
That's true.
I think the difference is that the soundtrack that was released on Spotify for Fiona and Cake was probably not made by the music. It wasn't made by Amanda Jones. Whereas the soundtrack that was made for Adventure Time was, to an extent, made by Tim Kafer and the other musicians. So, for example, Time Adventure for the Adventure Time finale has a completely clean version, no background sounds at all. And it's the only one where you can clearly hear Jake say the line at the end.
Oh, I'm so upset about that, dude. Why didn't they put it in the show? It was written for them. It was right there.
Yeah, so really they should have gotten Amanda Jones, the music composer, to make the soundtrack for them, but it doesn't seem that they did.
Yeah, oh well.
So why is the soundtrack say season 1 on it though?
Who knows? I mean, I'm approaching the end of my thoughts, or I've already approached it and have sat down with it.
Okay, I think I only have really one other thing that I wrote down here. Well, maybe a couple things. Just like looking at the background humans in Fiona World, some of them are like, obviously some of them are very recognizable, and some of them are like, is that somebody? Because they have very specific designs, but I don't think they are. I think they're just designed to be background humans.
They just really went hard on those, I guess. They're like, I got ideas.
The candy person from like the
Oh yeah, we didn't mention that, did we? It's
the candy person.
Corn.
Yeah, Lord Monochromic Corn. But the bus driver is just some mysterious person. I love how Hunter is like non-binary or something in this universe. Like,
yeah,
Hunter is very gender
and like Hispanic.
Yeah, and fucking Hispanic. Kim like cheered when Hunter spoke in Spanish.
Yeah, I don't know. There's background people. I was looking at them. One of them like has a mark over their eye and messy black hair that makes me think like, were they just trying to make this guy look like Zuko from Avatar? Because he looks like Zuko. But most importantly, DJ Flame and Fern are together in like every shot where you can see them.
God. Flame Prince left Fiona and hooked up with a girl who looks like her.
Yeah. I'm just happy for Fern. I'm glad she gets something in some universe.
Yeah. I saw them holding hands, but I didn't realize until I was seeing posts that like they're next to each other a lot.
That's like the extreme of Finn X Flame Princess, like how Finn couldn't hug her. Fern wouldn't be able to hug her without burning up completely. That's funny.
They can actually hold hands, unlike their counterparts.
In general, I loved the miniseries. I thought it was so fun, and I'm really, really happy that it was made. I had such a good time recording these again, and I'm really sad that it's over. I was in such a sad mood yesterday. I'm like, oh my god, it's already over and all this stuff. But I'm very happy it existed, and I commend the entire crew for making it, and you guys for doing these. They're always super fun.
Mm-hmm.
Yay! Yeah, I was so excited yesterday. Like I was I work overnight, so like the episode comes out at 3, but I'm like, no, I'll go home and watch it. I can't like take a break at work and try to watch it because that won't be the experience. So at work the other night, the whole time I was just like, oh my god, I gotta like the final Fionna and Cake. I was like, I felt like I was a kid again, which is like a very basic thing to say, but it's very true.
No, that's what it is, though. It's like this unadulterated special feeling where you're like, we kept saying like, we're back, but it's like this latent passion within you.
We've been gone for so long in the sense that like there weren't fans for the show. Like the way fans are reacting to this is so different from what happened later down the show's life because it just kind of just faded away because like other shows came out and everybody grew up and stuff. So like having the big fandom thing going on here too has just felt really amazing, and I think the series like did a great job at like satisfying and also being like beautiful art, beautiful music, everything, and also like really speaking with like a good theme that, like I said when we started these podcasts, really spoke to me because I've been like very depressed all year.
Oh, I feel it, man.
And like, I was even before the show was coming out, I was starting to feel a bit better. And now the show's out and it's done, and I'm like, wow, I want to be alive again. Like, which is, that's maybe darker than I intended to mean.
Bro,
like,
I feel it.
It wasn't that deep, but it's just a very literal, like, I have like that energy again. Like, I care about doing things now.
It feels like they have a bug on me in real life, and whatever I'm going through, they're like, quick, make a mini-series about it. But it's like, you can tell how much love they had for what they were doing, for like how much love and respect they had for the show, and like every shot, all these little Easter eggs, and how much fun they had, and it really shows.
Yeah,
so.
and I went in expecting like, from the initial announcement, I was like, okay, Simon Petrikov miniseries, like this will be something, and then they're like, little inklings of like, oh, it's actually going to be like kind of an adult show. I was like, whoa, what do you mean by that? And then the first 2 episodes happened, and I'm like, wow, they just like were like in my room talking to me and like making making it for me or something. Like, This is crazy. So I think it delivers all so well, and it's just really interesting how it came at such a perfect time for how I was personally feeling, and now I'm all hyped up again about like, I remember why I like cartoons and why any of this stuff was important in the first place, and it just feels great to have that back. And even with the show being over, like, I'm not sad because I'm like,
it's like Simon and Betty.
Yeah, like it happened, and like I'm still so awestruck by the fact that like a fandom came back and all, and like there's so much online discussion and stuff because that was such a big important thing for me. And that's something that like completely disappeared, and then for the past like 7 years has basically only been people being negative about whatever shows were coming out. And now this is how, and everybody's like, for the most part, like, oh, this is awesome, and there's cool art everywhere, and there's theories, and it just feels like everything is the way it should be, or the way I wish it always was, but can't always be. But it's great that this was able to bring out so much hype and inspiration from people, on top of being an incredible show in its own right too.
Yeah, like I have the same experience as you.
I think I've seen more like Simon and Golbetti fan art than I did like when the finale happened.
Yeah, exactly.
They interact way more. We get an idea of what those interactions can be like, but also this is a very competently crafted miniseries. It works as a standalone miniseries. Each episode is entertaining within itself. It feels like Adventure Time because it has enough room to breathe to do all of those Adventure Time things. It feels like a progression of Adventure Time because it's able to take on some darker themes that the show wasn't able to take on due to its younger rating. And yet it doesn't supersede the original show, because even though Simon is such an important character, one of the main characters of the show, he isn't Finn and Jake. So you get to spend lots of time. You get to spend lots of time with all of these new characters and some old characters who feel like new people. It's just a really good miniseries. You don't even have to be an Adventure Time fan to enjoy it for what it is. It could be a really good introduction to Adventure Time for some people.
And it is.
It is.
Yeah, there's the amount of people going back and watching the old show because of this. Like, it blows my mind to think about, but people talk about it being nostalgic, and I'm like, I guess we are reaching the point of nostalgia. It's been a while at this point, you know? Like, it was what? It ended in, like, which year was it? 2018? 17?
18.
18, yeah.
2008.
2008. Yeah, it was so long ago. I was only...
It ended before it even started.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was really special, and I'm happy to hear that you had, because I had a similar experience to you, Nick, and that means that a bunch of people probably did too.
Yeah.
Very nice.
Wonderful.
I say just my final few notes here. Of course, I screamed when Minerva showed up. I love to see her.
Of course, we didn't mention
yeah.
that. And then she's, she actually talked. I'm like, you're gonna make her talk, right?
I do wish we'd seen Simon like decompress a little bit with Marceline specifically. I don't know. I guess that's like a criticism I have. I feel like that was set up a little bit in like the first Simon episode. But I don't know. Maybe that's a sequel hook. Who knows?
Yeah.
Okay, and here's my actual last note that I wrote down. I'll read it verbatim to you guys. Gulb apple?
What?
Right.
Explain?
The Golb apple.
Did you watch the credits?
No. I gotta rewatch these.
After the credits of the last episode, there's like some shapes. There's like a cube and a triangle, and then they fuse together into like an apple with a bow tied around it, and it looks kind of like Gulb, but it's an apple.
Gulb apple.
Oh, I see it.
The name Golbetty was also canonized by the final episode.
Yeah.
That wasn't canon before. It was just a fandom term, but then Simon said it outright.
Yeah, when he said that, I was like, wait, did they ever canonize that? Oh, it was funny. Oh, God. I could talk about this forever. I can add another hour right here, but I'm going to stop myself.
Yeah. I just, about the symbols at the end, I think that is like one of the funniest, most evil things that the show's ever done, because it's just like, what is that? It's just some kind of abstraction, and it's like we can piece what it might mean, and it could mean like a million things, but it's just there for us to be like, okay, what? Huh? Like it's very funny. Also, very funny too. Hannah Kay, one of the artists, she just tweeted LOL when these episodes came out, and I don't think she's tweeted since.
Okay.
Oh my god. I hope that's for good reasons. Oh, by the way, you know how Cartoon Network does their thing with like do, and then you've got like the card of the characters doing something. In this one, the card was all of the universes.
Bro, I need to go back and watch all this stuff. I didn't realize. That's so cute. All right. Anyone want to sign us off?
Well, yeah. My final words, I guess, on these finale episodes are like, they were so good, but even so, they left me wanting more. They left me being like, I wish these episodes were like twice the length they were. I just, I just want to keep living in them.
Yeah.
And hope, maybe there will be a season 2. Who knows? And that'll make me happy. I kind of hope that there's more, just because I have mixed feelings about the last episode of the entire Adventure Time franchise being named Cheers, because it's, I don't know, it's just like a reference to something else, and they don't usually do that so explicitly.
But Come Along With Me is a reference to a song.
Okay, true, but the song of Adventure Time.
I guess.
Cheers is a really funny one though, because it's like cheers, bye, forever.
Oh. Yes. So, this is the end of Adventure Time for now, at least. Which means it's the end of the Bacon Pancast for now.
For now.
No.
Yes, if there's ever Fionna and Cake Season 2, if there's ever any more Adventure Time, whatever form it comes in, we will come back, definitely.
We will be there.
We'll be there to talk about it.
I will be in a retirement home and be like, no discussing Adventure Time.
It's going to be a few years.
It could happen. It's happened twice already that they brought it back in some kind of a reboot. At this point, I have complete faith that if they do it again, it's going to be fantastic.
Me too, and instead of saying goodbye, I will say see you later.
Yeah.
We've been making these for 3.5 years. Isn't that awesome? And that's just the reviews, never mind the other videos.
Well, yeah, we did our first Let's Play, like, in 2018, I think, when the show ended. Like,
That sounds right, yeah.
so look, see, it brings people together. It will continue to be together, and I don't know, if we cover a different cartoon, that'll be on a different podcast feed. It'll be a little confusing, but, like, we'll link it on this one probably. Who knows what'll happen.
I will see you next time.
Yep. See ya.
Yeah.
Thanks all.
Cheers.